Hello, and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. Here are the games that are coming out the week of October 3rd, 2017. The first game on today's list is Battle Chasers Nightwar. The game is coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Rating is teen. Content descriptors: alcohol reference, blood and gore, fantasy violence, mild language, suggestive themes. This is a role-playing game in which players explore unknown lands in an attempt to find the origins of a magical force. From a top-down perspective, players traverse dungeon-like environments and battle enemies in a turn-based combat. Players select moves from a menu. A short animation depicts the attacks. Characters use swords, firearms, and magic spells to defeat enemies. A brief cutscene depicts a wolf creature getting decapitated by a sword. A female warrior wears an outfit that reveals large amount of cleavage. When she moves and performs actions on the battleground, her breasts often jiggle. During the course of the game, players can acquire health items that include wine and ale. Swear words appear in the dialogue. Next up, Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. This game is coming out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Rating is mature. Content descriptors: blood and gore, language, partial nudity, suggestive themes, violence. This is an action-adventure game in which players assume the role of Glein, a warrior on a quest to kill a dragon. As players explore fantasy open-world environments, they complete missions and quests that influence the storyline as well as the fate of the character. Characters use swords, arrows, and magic attacks to kill various enemies in melee-style combat. They frequent combat is highlighted by slashing sounds, cries of pain, and large splashes of blood. Attacks occasionally result in dismembered body parts. One sequence depicts a beating heart after being removed. Some sequences allow players to injure or kill civilians, such as unarmed villagers. These attacks are penalized by lower charisma level for the player's character. The dialogue sometimes contains innuendos and suggestive material. Swear words appear in dialogue. A Hat in Time, played on the PC. Rating: everyone 10 and up. Content descriptors: fantasy violence, alcohol, and tobacco references. In A Hat in Time, you play as a tiny space-traveling girl with a big top hat. Her adventure is halted when all her fuel, the timepieces, is lost and scattered across a nearby planet. Hat Kid must now jump, fight, and stitch new hats to make her way into every nook and cranny of the new world in order to restore her fuel and resume her journey. On her way, she'll bump into the menacing mafia of cooks, the goofy birds of the Dead Bird Studio, the spooky shadows of the Subcon Forest, and more. Now let's take a look at Layton's mystery journey, Katrielle and the Millionaires Conspiracy. The game is coming out on the Nintendo 3DS. Rating: everyone 10 and up. Content descriptors: comic mischief, mild language, mild violence. This is a puzzle adventure game in which players solve mysteries with a young London detective. Players search for clues, interact with characters, and solve puzzles as they progress through the storyline. In a handful of cases, characters discuss murder and suicide as possible cause of death. One case contains brief autopsy details and a chalk tape outline of a body. Another scene depicts cartoony still images of a superhero beating up the gang of thugs. During the course of the game, characters briefly reference animal droppings. One case contains a discussion of the film soiled by bird feces. The word hell appears in the dialogue. Now let's dive into Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga and Bowser's Minions. This game is played on Nintendo 3DS. Rating is for everyone. Content descriptors: mild cartoon violence, mild suggestive themes. This is an action role-playing game in which players assume the role of Mario and Luigi on a quest to help the princess retrieve her voice. From a 3/4 overhead perspective, players traverse a fantasy kingdom, solve puzzles, and engage in turn-based combat against enemy creatures. Players select various attack moves from the menu to defeat enemies. Attacks depict cartoony characters stomping on enemies' heads and whacking them with mallets. Enemies generally disappear amid bursts of colorful lights and coins. One female creature wears an outfit that exposes moderate amounts of cleavage. The last game on today's list is Culdcept Revolt. This game is played in Nintendo 3DS. Rating is teen. Content descriptors: fantasy violence, language, mild blood, suggestive themes. This is a strategy game in which players assume the role of a rebel fighter battling for freedom against an evil force. Players engage in turn-based card battles on a game board against fantasy creatures. Players take turns summoning creature cards that slash, stab, and claw at opponents. Impact sounds and colorful light effects occur during battle. Some cards also depict violent imagery. One red slime-like creature is referred to as blood pudding. Some female characters are depicted with exaggerated sized breasts and outfits that reveal a large amount of cleavage. A handful of creatures are shown with exposed breast, with no nipples showing. Swear words appear in the dialogue.
Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. You can also follow Parents Guide to Games on Twitter at ParentsG2G, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games. You can check out our daily blog at parentsg2g.blogspot.com, and also email us with questions and concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.